My guest, Eneazer Layne, aka Lady E, is the founder of Imagery International Movement, a nonprofit women's empowerment organization. She's a certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the Maxwell Leadership team and author of a relatively new book, Surface Deep: The Evolution of You. Eneazer is here today to talk to us about how to awaken our MOXIE. Welcome, Eneazer.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you for
So,
having me.
oh, it's a pleasure. So tell us what you mean by MOXIE. What is MOXIE?
Moxie it's a force of character, determination, or nerve. It's grit. It's the ability to face difficulty with spirit and with courage. And it's this aggressive energy that causes you to take initiative to do whatever it is you want to do or be whomever you want to be. Whatever it is that you want, it takes moxie. It takes
Awesome.
grit. Yes.
Yeah. Some tenacity. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I can say I believe that I have MOXIE, but
I think so
just from
too.
that definition. So So, what are some things in life or in our experiences that maybe prevents people from experiencing this sense of moxie?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. That's a perfect question. One of the main things I believe is limiting beliefs, defeatist attitude, not knowing who you are, lack of confidence.
Hmm.
But it starts right here. It's in the mind.
The negative self-talk.
Yes, the negative
Yeah.
self-talk, what you believe. Sometimes it's not necessarily negative self-talk because there are people who really see themselves as being, I would say, all that. But
Hmm.
it's their character, it's the spirit in which they move that can keep them from really, really rocking their moxie, being who they are to the core. And it only gets them so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, so how do people start to like unload some of that stuff so that they can embrace their moxie or experiment and flex their moxie?
I like that. Flex your moxie. Oh, that's real good. um, I believe, first of all, they have to identify what is keeping them from doing what they want to do or being their authentic selves, who they really are to the core. Many people really don't know because they believe things that they have been taught. They
Mhm.
mirror what they have seen. Sometimes they mirror things that they've seen, heard, tasted, or touched um, that seem to draw them in, but it's not necessarily for their good. So one of the things is just believing. When you don't believe in yourself, then you're just existing, you're not living.
Mm.
And we were made to live. Existence in our existence is that we exist to live. We don't, we
Yeah,
exist to live, but we don't live to exist.
it's
And
more
so,
than that.
so many
Yeah.
people are doing that, and they don't even, many people don't realize it. Many people think it's too big of a feat for them to be able to tackle all of those demons or those things that keep them from being down in their gut. They know that it's more. They know that there's more, but they're not willing to awaken that moxie. They're not willing to tap into themselves. And, this is the Shine conference, and you're talking about um, self care. This is
Mhm.
the epitome of self care. you know, before you can get to the nails in the feet and the facials and the massages and the outings and going out and having fun, you know,
Right.
what's going on up in here, what's going on deep in here in your soul that really fills you up, you know. So one of the reasons people are not tapping into that moxie, not using that force of character, is because they're sleeping on themselves.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And so we talk about awaken your moxie.
Yeah.
You got to wake it up.
Right. Right. So, I'm curious, like, so say we're talking to someone who's sleeping on themselves right now.
Mhm.
What, how can they recognize they're sleeping on themselves so that they can wake up?
Actually, they already know. There's a
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Yeah.
There's a voice. There's something that tugs on them from time to time and sometimes day by day. And their reaction to that is to push back because it seems that it's too hard to do, or they have the stinking thinking, meaning, I would never be able to do that. I would never be able to be like this person, or I would never be able to accomplish these things because this is not who I am. But then there's this voice deep down on the inside of them that is giving them a nudge all the time. And they have to make up their mind. I'm telling you, it starts in the mind.
Yeah.
And between these two ears is 5 to 6 inches. And in that space is this information highway. And some things that come to our mind is not the right thing. You know, some things that come to our mind, but there's also that part of our minds that's called reasoning that
Mhm.
says, and it goes to your gut and says, no, that's not for you, or that's not the way to act, or that's not the kind of thought you need to think, but that's not the thing you need to do if you want to get to where you want to go. And so you have to rearrange those thoughts. You have to be willing to tap in to the authentic you, who you were born to be, you know, who you were made to be from. And excuse me, but I'm a woman of faith. Okay. So before the foundation of the world, this is what I believe, that God knew me. He made, I was before I was.
Mm.
And there's that spirit that is in us that gives us this nudge that says, you can do this,
Mhm.
you know, and people are not tapping in to the power that is in them. And I believe that we are living in a time right now, and this is the message. So many people, you know, you have this platform here. I have a platform to empower people to be all that they can be, to tap into the power that is in them. I would say to that person, you are so much more powerful than you realize.
Yeah.
There's so much more power in you.
Like, I know you feel like you can't do it right now, but trust me, you got this.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 You got this.
You got this.
And when they
And
say,
frankly,
why can't you? You
why
have to
can't you?
question, why can't you? You know, because I've never done anything like that before. So when are you going to start?
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. Let's take the apostrophe T off the end of can't and say, I can, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you have to go deeper, you know? What keeps you from, I don't have the resources. But what else do you do? What
Mm-hmm.
else do you do in your life that you may not have the resources for, but you find a way?
Yeah, I love that. You just keep digging and reframing and digging and reframing.
You have to,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I tend to think that like if we have that thing inside of us calling to us, like our life's already going to help us figure that out. Like we may think we can't, but if it keeps calling and keeps calling, like life's got a path, you
hmm
know, or
yes,
however you want to say it, your life, God, your intuition, whatever,
yes,
there's a path to that. And, you know, and I honestly believe we don't have to know how. We just got to take a step because that's what triggers it.
yes. One of my mentors says, jump in and grow your wings on the way down.
I hope they grow fast.
Yes, that's called rocking your moxie. That
That
means
is.
force of character. Listen, live or die, sink or swim. I'm jumping in and I'm getting it done.
Yeah. I
Yes,
mean, part of my philosophy lately and kind of what a part of what's brought the summit about is like life's too short. We need everyone on the bus with all their solutions. Let's do this together, you
yes,
know. And I do believe everyone has that piece of the puzzle. You know, my end game is world peace. Okay.
yeah.
So I'm
Oh,
like, you know, it's a big goal, but I think that all of us, you know, together we can. Together we can.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
it, you know, I could look at my goal and go like, world peace, there's like division in America, there's like
Mhm.
all kinds of nonsense going on. There's a war in Ukraine, like, you
Yes,
know, but honestly, you know, it's a call. Just
yes.
like, you know, your call is empowering women.
hmm
So believe in yourself, please. Whoever is listening to this, just
Yes,
believe in yourself because that little thing in your heart that's singing to you, that's your soul. That's your inner 7-year-old who remembers the Moxie. And you know,
yes.
any 7-year-old girl that doesn't have Moxie.
Yes, hey, dig that little girl out, you know. And that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful segue because um, think about a child, even a toddler. A toddler sees something that she or he is interested in, or
Mhm.
that sparks their curiosity, and they go for it. What is that thing in the wall? That socket? You know, they go with
Right.
what's abandoned, and they go and they want to stick something. It's a hole. Something needs to go in there. They have no idea, you know. And sometimes, I mean, of course, we're older and we have a little more, you know, we know right from wrong. You know, we know, nah, I may not need to do that, you know, but there are things when it comes to our heart's desire and that thing that just really makes our heart sing, that thing that hits us in our sweet spot, that thing that makes us feel fulfilled and feel like we're doing something to add value to others. And that's one thing I've noticed. Every time I ask a person, what do they want? It has never failed. That their end statement is that they want to help others. People want to add value to others. So whatever it is that you want in life, somebody else is on the other end of that, you
Mhm.
know. And so adding value first to yourself, adding value first to yourself, and then
Mhm.
paying it forward, adding value to others. I believe we're all here to serve one another. I really do. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of givers that will kind of like, oh, resist a little bit that give first to yourself thing because they just want to give, they just want to give.
Mhm.
So, you know, do you have any advice or suggestions for them on learning how to give to themselves first?
Oh, absolutely. And I know this is might be a little cliche right now because people always go to this experience on the airplane before they take off. They say, if we lose pressure in the cabin and the oxygen mask will come down. And if you have a child, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then put it on the child. Because if you put it on the child, you won't be there to help the child, because you won't have that life sustaining force to breathe, to be able to help that child. And then you both will perish. So you have to take care of yourself first. When it comes to giving, even as parents, we give and give and give. Well, just people in general, many of us, we give. I have been told I'm a giver even to a fault. It's like, stop giving everything away. Stop doing this, stop doing that. And I had to learn to give, one, to those who deserve it, give to those who don't deserve it, but it's a seed being planted that they would become deserving.
Right.
To give from my heart, but at the same time, as you pour out of yourself, you have to get poured into. You have to find those things that feeds you, that feeds your spirit, that feeds your soul, that nourishes you mentally, spiritually, physically, in every way. If I have if we're in a famine and I continue to only feed others, then I will perish if I don't eat as well. So,
and then who's going to feed those people?
right. So here we go again. We all end up perishing if I am their source, for sustenance. So find ways to give to yourself. And it's not being selfish.
Right.
It's being self-sustaining. It's necessary. We need all of those things that makes us whole. We have to feed the mind, we have to feed the body, we have to feed our spirits, our souls, our everything, emotionally, we have to be fed. There are people, I have been in a place where, as I told you, I am sometimes I'm reclusive. Okay. However, I'm very extroverted at the same time. But there are times that I have been in my space or I have even been out, and I was never lonely, but I have felt alone. So feeding that part of you that has a longing for belonging, or feeding whatever the nourishment is that you need, making sure you get that, whether it's listen, it can be something just as, I'll tell you something. We're talking about Awaken Your MOXIE. My business is called Awaken Consciousness, coaching, empowerment, and speaking services. And that awakened consciousness is being fully conscious of everything that you see, that you smell, that you touch, that you taste, that you hear, living in those moments and being fully awakened. So feeding myself sometime is literally me going out on my patio, especially in the spring, on a beautiful day in the spring and the summer, and just sitting down and being very cognizant of the sun kissing my face. I don't need anybody for that.
Right.
That's me living in that moment. That's me meditating and taking deep breaths and experiencing the air filling my lungs and experiencing the exhale of whatever it is I need to get rid of. You know, it's feeding my soul, it's feeding my spirit, it's feeding my being, it's allowing me to live. And so that awakening is everything. And really digging deep to consider what your subconscious mind dictates to you, that things that you just automatically do without thinking, and awakening your consciousness to be very, very conscious of those things that you do subconsciously, and questioning yourself, using those 5-6 inches between your brain and saying, how does that serve me?
Mm. Yeah, I
How
like
does
that.
that fill me up? Why do I do that? Where did that come from? And that goes back to awakening your MOXIE. Because when you begin to ask yourself these questions, some things, I have no problem with therapists, okay? But there's the therapist in you.
Mm-hmm. Some self-examination. Where
Yes.
did this come from? Why do I believe this?
Yes.
What made that thought pop in my head?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
love that. I think that's the work, the vital work
Yes.
for all of us to do
Mhm.
always, and yeah, I love that you thank you for sharing your mindfulness practice that you do outside in the sun, because I mean
Mhm.
that's basically what it is. It's a
Yeah.
mindfulness
Yeah.
presence practice.
Mhm.
And I believe that helps us to tap into ourselves a little bit on a deeper level,
Mhm.
beyond the thought, what do I need? What do I want? What do I feel? What wants to express itself?
Mhm. Mhm.
And in that mindfulness moment, that's when you start really touching on those things, I think.
Yeah. And I think it's important to also dare to get out of the box.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why is it that the only time people meditate is early in the morning when they first get up? That's a perfect way. That's a perfect way to start your day. But sometimes in the middle of the day, or several times of the day, because I have so much going on in my mind, it's so many things going on around me. They're not just things that I aspire to do, but there are those vicissitudes of life, these
Mhm.
things that come up in life that can really deter me, that can distract me, or whatever. So if I'm working on some content on here, if I'm working on a book, if I'm working on a speech, if I'm working on um, trying to get some back end tech stuff, which really that's when I have to get up, especially with tech. I have to get up several times and take a break, you
Yeah.
know, and go outside, you know,
Mhm.
and just breathe.
Refresh that
Re-
source.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to talk to myself and say, okay, girl, get it together. You got this. You can do this. It's overwhelming. I know,
Mm.
but it's in you, and you have what you don't know you have.
I love that. Like,
Yeah.
yes, be your cheerleader. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
that
So,
that took a long time for me to grow into becoming my
mhm,
own cheerleader. It was easy for me to see all my inner crap,
mhm,
all the things I've
yes.
done wrong and whatever. And one of the key turning points, and some people have feelings about validation. Oh, we shouldn't need validation from others. But, you know, for someone who can't see themselves fully, you know, it helps. And we all need validation, let's be honest, once in a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but a room full of people that I barely knew took turns telling me the goodness that they saw in me, and they did it a couple of times. And I got to tell you, like I bawled each time. And
Mhm.
come the third time that all they had to do was stand in front of my face, and I'd start crying. I was like, all right, now I know where y'all are going with this, and I just, but
Yes.
but that helped awaken in me the eyes that could see that.
Yes.
And so, along this lines, if you can't see the goodness that's in you, find someone who can. It's not going to blow you up with nonsense, but who will actually share with you the good stuff.
Oh my God. Yes, that is something that people who have known me for, I've been in St. Louis for 40, it's coming up on 46 years. I came here at 19 years old. And everything you're saying, that's who I was then. But what I'm doing right now, I'm doing it intentionally. But I did it innately when I hit the ground here in St. Louis. I was constantly empowering these young people, and people kept coming. I did not know who I was. And for a long time, I thought people, why are people, I kept asking myself, why are people trying to blow my head up? What do they want from me? You know, oh, Eneazer, you're this. Oh, Eneazer, you're that. Oh my God, I see greatness in you. I mean, people I didn't know. Somebody looked at me, came up to me, I never will forget, and said, oh my God, you look wealthy. I'm like, really?
I can see that.
You know, or I love your spirit, or you're so beautiful. I didn't see what they saw. I didn't see. And it is so true. There are so many people that see you better than you see yourself because you don't take the time to look in the mirror. And the mirror it's so funny that this conversation is going this direction. The mirror for imagery for my nonprofit organization, that's our tool, the mirror. And I mean literally looking in the mirror. And if you have a problem with that, then I encourage the ladies to look introspectively into themselves and to speak life into themselves. Because what you see in the mirror, when you first look in it, the first thing you see is everything superficial. First thing you want to do is put the makeup on. The first thing you want, you talk about all the negative stuff, my nose is this and my eyes, I wish my eyes was like this, or like right now, I'm 65 years old, and I proudly say that because age is a blessing. It's a blessing. I'm still living. And so, at 65, I know if I push my skin up, I see how a little better how I used to look, there was a little more slant in my eyes and around here, sometimes I see these things, and you see all of this negativity. We find and instead of saying what we say to ourselves initially is all the flaws we see.
Yeah.
But then if I can look back in the mirror the second time and take a second look and say, I'm a bad mama jamma.
Yes, you are.
This face has endured hardness. I have been long suffering. I have gone through so many things, and I survived. I didn't just survive, I'm thriving. And it didn't take me out. It didn't destroy my mind. I am not mentally ill and challenged. I have some challenges, yes. However, I'm all put together up here. It didn't take me out. So even if I see the flaws and look in that mirror the second time and say, I'm flawlessly flawed.
Yeah. I say perfectly imperfect. It's the same thing.
Yes. I'm flawlessly flawed. This is the way it is. Yes. So people see you many times better than you see yourself, because you don't take the time to dig deep and look in that mirror and really speak life to yourself, build yourself up. And I'm not talking about falsely. I mean, truly, right. Truly, there's the way people see you. There's the way you want to be seen. And then there is you to the core. There's 3 parts of you. So you get to choose which one.
I love that.
Which one you want to show up.
Yeah. I think that that mirror work is so important. And first of all, I want to tell everyone that's listening that, like, I know that if I can become my own cheerleader, then you can too.
Mhm.
Frankly, because that was a road, a path, and I chose it. And I am currently one of my biggest cheerleaders.
Yes.
But secondly, like that mirror work is precious. Like, you know, even if you don't like like appreciate in a beauty kind of way or a pretty cultural pretty kind of way, like you
Mhm.
can appreciate your body for what it's been through. And I love that you brought that up. Like, you know, maybe you don't like your stomach, but maybe your stomach, like held people against it in an embrace, or maybe it gave birth to a child, or you know maybe that stomach has helped you or held you in some kind of way. So that in and of itself is precious and beautiful, and can we acknowledge that? you
Absolutely.
know
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, wow. I'm not going to comment on the stomach. Okay. Oh, God.
It's a journey. It's
It
a
is.
journey.
It is. Well, you said we were going to be real, right? Let me just be real, okay? Because you know what? Real people reach real people, and
Mm,
a lot of times we talk about being politically correct. And I don't really I embrace truth. I embrace truth, whatever the truth is. And so let me just say this, because this is who I am. I am real. I believe I'm about as real as they come, and I'm very transparent. I remember years ago, of course, I had two full-term children, and I had two miscarriages.
mm,
But from those two children, the havoc that stretching did on my body left
mm,
me very despondent and not happy with my body. Okay.
mm,
Um, and I wish then I had uh, that I knew how to embrace that. And when you just said that, embracing that stomach, that
mhm,
extra skin that exercise does not take away, and
mhm,
the stretch marks and the discoloration, of that. And I'm telling you, I remember feeling like I wasn't good enough for the man that I was married to, because I felt that I had this body dysmorphia.
mhm.
And I literally cried and I said, it's just not fair. It's not fair, because, and then I would see other women who had big, big bellies and they'd snap right back. But mine didn't do that.
Yeah.
There is something to embracing that. So I wish then I knew to rub that stomach and smile and say, that gave birth.
Mm,
That carried precious cargo.
yeah.
This is a reminder that I am a life giver, that I'm a carrier of life. Wow. How wonderful would that be if we
Yeah.
could look in the mirror, if we could get to that place to look in the mirror and embrace that, because it's a reminder. It's like, your stomach, you're not pregnant still, and but it's like having a scar.
Mhm.
I have a scar on my inner thigh, um, from a beating that I
Mhm.
received when I was much younger. Okay, I'm 65 and it's still there. It's been there for years. Okay, but
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt when I touch it. I don't feel a thing. But
Mhm.
it's a reminder of something that I endured. It's a reminder of something that it didn't take me out. Did it hurt? Yes. Did it break my skin? Yes. Did I bleed? Yes. Was there a healing process? Yes, absolutely. Did I learn a lesson? Maybe. Did it shape
Talk
me?
about being real. Maybe.
Yes, but I love when you said that about the stomach, it just brought that up to me. I could almost see myself literally crying, and because I wanted to have this fit, flat, body, because I had this 22 waist and a 36 hips, and I was a bad looking mama jamma before children, BC.
BC.
I looked pretty good. I was pretty stacked. I could wear 2 sizes smaller top than I did bottoms, and I'm telling you, that was pretty cool. And then I was just crying because I'm ugly. My stomach is.
Yeah. I feel like almost every single woman on the planet, or at least in the US, tortures herself over her looks,
Yes.
just tortures. And, you know, I used to have a thing about my breasts, right? Because of children. There was the BC breasts, and then
Yeah.
the
Yes.
and it got to a point where it was just such a negative relationship. And what could I do to like love myself and appreciate them, and appreciate what they've done for me? Like, I feel like there's something, at least one little tiny little thing that we can appreciate about every single part of our body if we took the time to acknowledge it, you
Mhm.
know?
Yes.
Like, so yeah, it's a fun and interesting and really healing practice to do.
Yes. It
Mm.
is. It is. Yes. It's a wonderful thing to come to a place of, I call it the embrace.
Mm.
You know, if you can't do anything to change it, truly, if there's nothing you can do, and I'm not talking about plastic surgery, and of course we're talking about main, the body or whatever, but I'm not talking about plastic surgery or Botox or things like that, getting all of that stuff, but being able to embrace the authentic you is,
Mhm.
I believe, is just everything. Being comfortable in your skin.
Yeah, it's powerful. It is. It's powerful.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, Aneezer, you've dropped little hints about your story. What prompted you to become a coach, and what helped you to acknowledge that you have a passion for empowering women? Like, tell us your story a little bit.
Oh, wow. We don't have time for that. However, I will try to put it in a nutshell. Like I said
Okay.
earlier, I moved to St. Louis at 19 years old. Um, and my mom told me a couple of years, I think about 2 years ago, she called me and she said, what is it you do? And I said, I'm a coach. Well, what is that? Because I was always telling her about, she knew I had the nonprofit organization, and I had became a part of the John Maxwell team, the Maxwell Leadership team now. And so I was always busy working on something. I'm working on something. I have a meeting. I have to get on a Zoom call. I have to do this,
Mhm.
and I wasn't making any money or anything like that. I was building myself up and preparing. What is it that you do? And I said, I'm a coach. I'm a empowerment coach. I empower women. Well, what? So then she said, you know, you're an influencer.
Mhm.
Now, this is this is a full circle moment for me when
Yeah.
she said that. First of all, my mother was 94, going on 95 when she said that. She was My mother was the most plain, um, no internet, no whatever, very, she lived the way she lived 50 years before, whatever, no cell phone, no social media. She couldn't even say Facebook. She would mess that up. She couldn't even say it. She called it that thing. Okay. And
Mhm.
so when she said that, she had no idea that in 2021, she had no idea that in 2021 on social media, to call a person an influencer meant something totally different from what she was saying. But at
Mhm.
the same time, it is the same thing. But she didn't know that was a catch thing, that was a N word for you're somebody, or you're somebody that really knows how to influence people. Or on social media, of course, that means you have so many followers, you have so many likes, you have so many whatever that is when it comes to influencer. Um, and I sat back because this is the same lady who I believed when she said I was ignorant. She called me ignorant head,
Mm.
who said that I would never amount to anything, who said I would never accomplish anything. And I believed it. So let me go back to 19 years old. I got married, left Chicago, came to St. Louis. My ex-husband was a huge part of the church. We went to church all the time. That was the pastime. The young people in the church became my children. I was 19. I was young enough to relate to them as a teenager, but I was old enough for them to look up to because I was married and had a child. Fast forward, I did that with these young people. I influenced them. I coached them and didn't know what a coach was.
Yeah.
Poured into them, not really realizing. I told them who they were, what they could do, what they could accomplish. I was their sounding board. I was Mama Nisa. I was the one that they ran to when they couldn't talk to their parents. I was the one they said, Mama Nisa, I'm scared. I think I'm pregnant. Don't tell my mom. That kind of thing. I was that girl. I was that person that shared my experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the good. Well, I say good, the good, the bad, and the ugly, mostly the bad and the ugly. But I shared those things with them to help them understand what to do and what not to do, and not just do it or don't do it, but why, and shared my experiences. I was very transparent with them. I had all kinds of, oh my God, outings and pajama parties and all of these things with these mostly young ladies, but there were the young men too, had a revolving door in my home. I did that for over 40 years and didn't know who I was.
Wow.
I didn't listen to myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I say who you really are to the core, it's in you. But you have to awaken your consciousness. You have to pay attention to what you have to pay attention to the feedback you give to others, especially the positive feedback. You have to go back and apply that to your own life if you're not doing it. I did that for over 40 years. And it took for me to have, and I loved it. Nothing gave me more pleasure or made me feel whole than helping somebody and lifting them up. And it wasn't until I was about 44 when I left my ex-husband, 43, 44, somewhere around there, that I began on this journey of, I call it imagery. By 46, I heard myself say to someone while I was pouring into them, I literally sat up in the middle of the bed. She was suicidal, and I was helping her. And I just got real stern. And I said, listen, I didn't say it like that. I mean, I was very animated. I said, listen, can't nobody dictate to me who I am or how I will act or what I will do with my body. I said, I've been there, I've done that. And for the first time in my life, I can honestly say, I love me some me. Girl, I'm a force to be reckoned with. I was just starting on this journey of self-actualization after all those years. So the coaching, I was doing it and didn't know I was doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm doing it intentionally at 58 years old. And this is for anybody that's looking at this and you are a person of a certain age. 58 years old, I joined the John Maxwell team. That's what it was called then. And I got so overwhelmed because the information was so sweet. It was so empowering. It was just everything that I needed that I didn't know I needed, you know? And here I'm just starting on a journey to start a coaching business. Who am I? You know, you're not going to be anybody. You're not going to get, you'll never amount to anything. Anything you touch it's not going to work. You know, I didn't have an aspiration to be a coach. Again, coaching wasn't that wasn't the word that was out, you know, the big thing. Now everybody's a coach, you know, but it was overwhelming to me to the point I got angry because I said, it took me this long. It took me this long to figure out that what I was doing 40 something years ago, I could have been doing it a different way, but I'm not sorry. So how I come to this, the part of my life is I have been through there's been a lot of negative things that has happened in my life. And I know I'm not the only one. Everybody looking at this, no, they have the same thing. Life has been a journey, you know. I've gone from not knowing who I am, literally rocking my MOXIE and not knowing the definition of MOXIE, because I literally was one of those jump in people, make a decision to say I'm going to do something, not because I think I'm all that. It's just something I want to do. I jump in with nothing and watch God make something come out of it. You know, I was just, I was, I guess you could call it this daredevil, you know, decide I'm going to give myself my first 30, I'm turning 39. I've never had a birthday party in my life. Nobody loves me enough to give me a party. I didn't have one as a child. So I'm going to throw myself my own birthday party. Okay. But the birthday party is not an invitation to come to my house or come to an event center. My invitation is to do a live recording.
Oh.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Who did I think I was?
Well, you're not risk averse.
I didn't know who I was. Huh?
Yeah, I said you're not risk adverse.
I mean, I just jumped in. I did not have the finances to do that. I did not have the capital to do that. And I just took one foot in front of the other, and it happened. And in the process of that, I learned more things about myself that I can write.
I think when we put ourselves out there, like you were saying, stepping out of that box, like when we step out of that box, we learn all kinds of new things about ourselves and surprise ourselves.
Yes. So, you know, and that was my second recording I did. My first recording, I stepped out of the box. someone gave me an opportunity and literally told me I wasn't going to have to pay for it. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. But something began to happen. I began to evolve even in that. That's when I really realized I could write my own music.
Oh,
And I didn't know that I had that capability because I never even took the time to dig deep within myself to see who I was and what I had to work with. I knew I had a voice. I was born with a voice, a singing voice. That was my gift. That was something that I literally runs deep in my family. So that was just par for the course, So, okay, people like to hear me sing. They come to hear me sing. I do a concert and they show up and they fill the church up. Okay, well, I'm a sing. So I get this opportunity to go in the studio and do a recording. Honestly, whether I believed it was going to come into fruition, I don't know if I believed it or not. I just took advantage of an opportunity. And in the process, began to write my own music. And I thought it was corny, but others said, no, it's not corny. So those songs are on my first CD. Then 39.
Now I'm going to go look you up. I'm going to go try and find your music because I want to listen. I'm all in. I'm all in, Lady E. I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, it's under my other name, Eneazer Blissett Moore. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Lady E. Yeah. But that's the coaching, all of that. It has been a process. It has been a journey. And I am so incredibly grateful for that journey, even the negativities and the stinking thinking and all of that. I would not be who I am now. I don't think it's possible for me to get a big head. I have to stay humble because I'll never forget what brought me to this place. And like the man said, he said, you look wealthy. And today I can say, I am wealthy. I am wealthy in spirit. It is well with my soul. Emotionally, I'm okay. I have my moments. Doesn't mean that I have arrived. I have not arrived.
It's still life. We're still living.
Right. I have not arrived. But in this moment, I'll give you this. Something I wrote a couple of weeks ago. It's a state of being. I did a state of being address about me. And the first line said, I am broken, yet I am mended. I am whole. And I'm good with this. Absolutely.
I love that. It just made me think of that Japanese pottery with the gold.
Oh
that
my
they,
God. Yeah.
Eneazer, this has been so wonderful for me. And let's tell people where they can find you, where they can get more of Lady E. So
okay, you can my website is Eneazer.com, and that is ENEAZER, and it gives you information of the services that I provide, coaching programs, and anything that I'm doing. I also have this wonderful little, I call it this wonderful little book. Is it okay for me to show it?
Please. Yes.
I have this wonderful little book. You see my bookmark in it because I keep reading it. I read my own thing. I think I did pretty good.
Yes, absolutely.
Surface Deep, The Evolution of You. And everything that we have just finished talking about, this really helps you unpack it. And you can go to my website, Eneazer.com, and click the link for the book, or you can go to surfacedeepbook.com and you can order it if you want an autographed copy. It's also available on Amazon. It doesn't matter with me whether you ordered on Amazon or from my website, as long as you get it. And also on my website, you will find, I'm very proud of this. See, this is the girl that would never amount to anything.
Awesome.
This hot little thing right here.
Rock your Moxie. Oh, nice.
This is
I like it.
This is my workbook. I have not started it yet. I'm getting ready to launch.
Oh, it's beautiful.
In full color.
Yeah.
This is the workbook. So I'll tell you what MOXIE is. MOXIE, in this, it's an acronym for mindset, opportunity, X factor, intentionality, and then elevation.
I love that, Eneazer. I love that.
Awaken that MOXIE. It helps you to wherever you are in life. It doesn't have to be career oriented. It can just be having a better state of being and knowing who you are and being the best you, authentic you can be. That's what this, it's an 8-week group coaching program. MOXIE, 5 precepts to define limits. And this is just the workbook, and I have a curriculum, and I am so excited to get started on that very, very soon.
Oh,
and so
awesome.
they go to my website, and you'll be able to just click a link, and there should be some dates up there if you want to be a part of this 8-week group coaches, a small groups, group coaching program, and be ready because it will make you go deep.
I really got like a sense of turning the lights on, from your workbook. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Eneazer, it has been such a pleasure for me, and I really appreciate you being here and talking with us. So check out Eneazer, Lady E, and I'm gonna go and Google your music now.
Awesome. Yes. Well, I'm the only Eneazer in the world, so I believe if you just put Eneazer, if you spell it right, you'll see some things.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy.
Thanks again.
Okay. Rock your MOXIE.